Good morning, friends. Welcome to another version of Exploring the Ka with your host, Castaldo. And I've been sick for the last few days. I had a fever. I have some kind of chest infection, a lot of mucus. So maybe it is a result of some of these astral wars that we are in, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 5 of my Magick series, where I talk about the astral wars that are taking place, the misconceptions of magic over the years, and the dark and evil shaman that participate in these astral battles or ritual combat. And in my last 4 episodes, I talked about how the strega, we call these the ember days, where typically on certain nights of the year, which is usually the solstices or the season changed days, the days where the seasons change would be the nights where we fall into a trance and go into the astral. Our souls will leave our bodies and we will transform into these thought forms or tulpas. And one of them happened to be these dogman werewolf type beings that we will transform into in the astral and do these ritual combat or these astral wars. They will take place against the good and the bad witches, or the dark and the evil shaman. So that's basically what I touched on the first couple of episodes, and elaborated in the last one, especially about what takes place. And now some people may be wondering, why don't you remember your dreams? Or maybe some people even think that they don't dream. And this is one of the signs that something intense is going on in your dream time or your dream state. If your body has put a mental block on your dream time, so you don't remember it in your wake time, there might be some kind of traumatic experience going on in your dream time to make your mind just totally block it out. Sometimes that's what we do. We'll put a wall in front of the trauma, to block it out, but then it will, flow out or, overspill in other areas of your life. So that's what I wanted to touch on, is how to know if you are taking place in these astral wars. Because a lot of people are not even, don't even realize that they're these star soldiers or these astral warriors. And it's not everybody that's taking place in these ember days or these astral battles. It's not everyone who's taking place in them. It's some of us, some of us that are chosen or actually have made pre-incarnate agreements to be in these battles. And some of us haven't awakened or have tapped into our consciousness to be aware that we are doing these battles. Some ways to find out if you are one of these soldiers, and going through these battles is because, like I mentioned in previous episodes, everything that we do in dream time, in the astral, manifests in the physical, in the material world, okay? So every thought you've ever done, everything you've ever pondered, anything you've ever done in the astral, in the dream time, it will manifest and it shows itself in the physical plane. So if you are spending a lot of your time in the physical awake hours, researching astral travel, researching aliens, researching ghosts, researching spirits, other realms, researching all that type of genre, then I'm not saying it's 100%, it's 100% sure that you're one of these star soldiers, but it's a good start that something is taking place in your dream time that's manifesting that obsession in your wake time. If you are very obsessed with watching videos about ghosts or aliens or the spiritual realm or all of that mysterious, subjects, all of these mysterious subjects, then most likely there is something taking place in your dream time that's manifesting that in your awake time. because some people don't even understand their obsession with it, you know? And some people will say, well, I haven't even had any of these experiences in my life, but I'm still obsessed with researching it, you know? And this is taking place on a lot of people, you know? A lot of people are constantly listening to podcasts about this stuff, you know? It's become an obsession with them. And in my opinion, is that a lot of these people are star soldiers, are taking place in these ritual combat battles, these astral wars, you know, and they're not just taking place on the, you know, the change of season nights. These are taking place every night, you know, almost daily. You know, these Ember Days are taking place now on a massive scale. We are having these astral wars. And they are for the spiritual evolution of our species, like I've said before. And, you know, we are able to tap into the higher and lower realms, us being a human, with that divine spark of our creation inside of us. We have the abilities to tap into the lower and higher realms. And, you know, this Draco reptilian force, these Orion groups, they don't have the human divine spark that we do. So they need astral and spiritual technology to piggyback on our souls to travel through these realms, and they have done that to us, you know. Now I wanted to also talk about, you know, over the years, you know, over the last thousands of years, you know, there have been instances where, you know, the Catholic Church has even gotten involved with these astral wars and tried to affect them in the dream time, and by doing things in the awake time, in the physical time. See, you know, strega or strege, you know, strega typically would be for a woman, you know, witch, but we've tend to adopted the word strega for a general term for everybody, or strege, because a male typically would be called a stregone or a mago, and a female would be a maga or a strega. But I use the word strega just for all of us. But there are good and bad strega, and from my line of strega, they were called walnut witches because of an ancient walnut tree that existed in Benevento, Italy. And this tree would not only be the gateway to the underworld, but it had technology on it that opened portals beneath Lake Nemi. And it was a powerful tree. And just the walnut tree in general is supposed to give the gift of prophecy. And it's a very powerful tree and a very powerful plant. And there is a plant spirit that can be evoked from the walnut tree. Its name is Wilhelminen, and that is the spirit of the walnut tree. And spirits of the trees can be very humanoid looking as well when they manifest. Very almost like an insect slash animal slash human. Very long limbs dangling and moving in the wind, and it can be a very powerful experience. Now, both dark and good witches would gather around this walnut tree during full moons, you know, and they would come at different times, and they would, you know, do their rituals and pray to the moon and dance around the tree. And it was a very powerful tree. And in 660 AD or 662 AD, Saint Barbato ordered this tree to be cut down. You know, he was sent by the Vatican to order this, you know, and he was ordered to have this tree cut down because he said that evil witches were gathering around this tree, and it was a spot of evil, you know, sorcery. And, you know, there might have been some evil witches gathering around it, of course, but there was a good aspect to this tree as well. And he ordered this tree to be cut down. And in around the same time, there was the Duke of Benevento. He was a pagan, Romulat, and he was the Duke of Benevento, and he was converted to Christianity by Saint Barbato. And this was, you know, one of his special trees as well. So it was a very trying time because people were getting put to death over this, and you know, it was a good example of how the Vatican had stepped in to try to take over, you know, and control the whole land where these old ways were practiced, and we were keeping the balance of good and evil at bay. And I think at this moment, when this tree was cut down, it swayed a little bit, and the evil started to get more of a hand on things. And, you know, people need to realize that just because someone says something and someone has, you know, been put in a position of power, doesn't mean that what he's saying is correct or what he's saying is valid. And this spot is still worshipped today. They still go to this spot where this tree was today. And it's still known about what happened, you know, and the Walnut witches were forced to go underground with all their activities. And, you know, these, this can be researched in Charles Leland's book. I have it here somewhere. This is Etruscan Roman Remains by Charles Leland, and this is from the late 1800s, and he talks about the Walnut witches in here. It's a great book. I have to go to work. I have missed work the last few days because I've been sick, so I'm off to work now. I hope everybody has a safe and healthy day, and I'm out. Spiral out, baby.